Boy Chuck Wick, aka Charles Brown, back again with another Talking Facts. But first I want to ask you, are you good? You sure you good? You hanging in there? All right, man. If you're good, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, follow your boy on all social media, and make sure you put them notifications in effect so you can get the next upcoming uploads. All right, man. JBP, the Joe Budden podcast. So I don't know if y'all know, but Rory and Mal have returned. And it was kind of awkward and kind of weird. So let me just explain what's going on. I know y'all, if you hear, you already in tune with what's going on with Joe Budden podcast. You already know that these guys had left for a little bit. They were kind of not feeling each other. And they really not saying what the whole thing was about still. They still telling you the aftermath of what happened. And a few little nuts and bolts and nuggets of information, but there's no real discussion of what this whole disrespect and all this stuff was about, right? I mean, we already know what it is. Without even saying it, you already know the bottom line of the whole thing is Joe Budden's attitude toward everybody. But at the end of the day, it got to be a reason that triggered these three guys. So there's so much to unpack, and it was so much that was said in this first show back. I think it was 3 hours once again, but I believe that I saw the clip that was an hour, probably an hour and 20 of the two, when the two guys were discussing with Joe the dynamics of what happened while they were gone and what made them leave. And there's so much going on. But one thing I will say, the bottom line, this show is never going to be the same again. Like I said in my last video, if you watch my last video about when they first left, that he destroyed the podcast. If you are paying attention, right? Whether you're a fan of the show or you're like fly by night or you barely even know what I'm talking about, one thing will stand for sure. If you look at this video of these two dudes returning and Budden sitting there, he's on a different side, I believe. I think they switched it around or whatever. But end of the day, it looks like Mal is more upset than Rory is right now. And I'm just going to give you my honest opinion about this whole situation. It looks like, in my opinion, it looked like they came back because these two guys, Ish and the other guy, were starting to get a lot of love. I'm going to be a buck with you. The crowd, most of the comments, 80% or more, was saying they like the new show. They like the new dynamic. Mal pretty much more or less admitted that he heard that he was realizing that they were saying, because he was saying, why would you mess with the dynamic of the show? All of this stuff, every single one of them, right? Even Mal, who's going on and on about respect. All of them are ego-driven with this situation. Every single one of them. Because what I'm going to tell you this. Now, everybody on the show is like, we some real dudes. And they real dudes. Everybody's real to a degree. But real is subjective. Right? And if I tell you, don't come back to the show, right? So you can cool off or whatever. Because you're talking about we might fight or whatever, or are we really friends, or whatever the comment was that made them feel like this might go left and these two dudes might end up fighting in here. So they haven't had a conversation backwards. I can just imagine a conversation off the scenes with Joe Budden. I can just imagine how crazy that gets. But if you're telling me don't come back to the show, right? I'm gonna start with Mal. You're telling Rory, who is my man. Now it comes out that Mal known Budden longer than he knew Rory. It comes out. So it sounds like at first, when Mal rode off with Rory, that he did the right honorable thing because they all three was boys and he was sticking up with his man. But apparently him and Budden have a much longer relationship, which kind of puts a spin on that. But I mean, business and friendship is a whole different thing. So he told him, Budden told Rory not to return, to just take some time to cool off. Mal took offense to that because they all three of them built it together. So he took time off as well. Right? He's like, this is a three-man show and it shouldn't be no you're going to tell him to take time off or what have you, but then I'm supposed to sit here and do the show with you like nothing's happening. So he took the time off. Now I'm going to tell you why I feel like Maul ego. I'm going to start with Maul first. Maul ego kicked in because he unfollowed Joe Budden, right? He unfollowed Joe Budden, and in his explanation in this particular video was, I unfollowed him because he kept posting stuff about the show. Okay, so you're telling me it made you feel a way. You felt upset that you were no longer part of this show and it was rolling on without you and you couldn't deal with that, so you unfollowed the man. He wasn't talking greasy about you, like he wasn't calling you out or not. He just was posting stuff about the show, saying a little slick stuff that people do, but it is what it is. It wasn't nothing, whatever. The ego of this guy kicked in, like, damn, this show's rolling without me. And he said it several times. I felt you should have stopped the show. And on some friendship stuff, he should have stopped the show. But it's not friendship. You know what I'm saying? This was a business venture. And what they kept trying to tell Maul, which I don't agree with Budden on a lot of stuff. But when they kept trying to tell Maul, we got people on here who lives depend, people working here, 28 people who get paychecks from this show. We can't just stop the show because you decided to take a hiatus with Rory because you were doing some kind of faux protest or what have you, or you were upset with me. And I get it, what Maul was saying, like, had you not ran with that, maybe we could have fixed it sooner. It didn't have to take 6 weeks. Had you focused, instead of focusing on keeping going with the show, instead of doing that, you would have just came on and sat down with us and figured it out. We could have had it done in a week instead of 6 weeks while you're doing the show with these other people. That's what Maul's saying. But if you peel back the layers, Maul is basically telling you, I left with my man because we felt like we're the show. But then me seeing you tweeting about the show that has your name on it, and it doesn't have me anywhere, and it's still rolling, and people are loving it, was too much for me. Too much for my ego to deal with. So I unfollowed you. Because they apparently wasn't talking. So apparently whatever was going on was going on. And he saw that the show was going on without him, so he unfollowed him. That's ego. That's fragile ego. Now, you could say, I'm real, I'm so real, and all I want is respect, da, da, da. But at the end of the day, your ego got hurt when you saw that the show was rolling without you and people wasn't begging for you to come back like that no more. I saw a lot of comments where, oh, I like the show better now. A lot of comments were saying that. So you know what that means? Red flag. He keeps saying, it ain't about the money, it's about the respect. So he kept saying it ain't about the money, it ain't about the respect. Now, we ain't getting no inclination that the respect was returned. Because as soon, Budden sat there for about 15, 20 minutes and ain't say nothing. But as soon as he started talking, what's the first thing he said? He told the Jay-Z story about so what? That's the first thing he talked about. Well, so what? How Jay-Z told him when he started he went all these years trying to get Hov to apologize, and he finally got the chance. He cornered him at the Hammerstein ballroom or wherever it was. And as soon as he opened his mouth to try to say, you stole my beat and all, Jay said, so what? So now he basically telling you his mentality when it comes to this business stuff is so what? Right? Facts. He's basically saying to you, so what? And he also showed you with his actions that the show gonna go without you. He never said he was ever stopping that show. He basically said, this is my life work. He said, I've been doing this for my entire life to get to this point. It ain't stopping for he said this. It ain't stopping for no one. So I don't know what part of this was respect to this guy. What part of anything Budden said in this episode gave him all this respect back that made him come back? Please show me in the comments what Budden said in this episode of this show that was so respectful. He basically told him the show ain't none of your business. He basically told him, I got mouths to feed. This show gonna go with or without you. He basically said, in no uncertain terms, I'm your boss at this point. And he basically said, my name is on this show and yours not. Literally everything he said was disrespectful. I don't care what you say. Everything he said to this man was disrespectful. Literally everything. Now, you can splice it up and dice it up, but I'm going to tell you why he's sitting there. For the one thing he said he wasn't sitting there for was money. Because at the end of the day, when you listening to these arguments and the conversation, he ain't say nothing about respecting him. He ain't say nothing. He said, Maul, we've been together 10 years. We lived in the same, all this, a whole bunch of nonsense that didn't equal to respect to me. Ain't none of that sound like respect to me. It sound like we known each other a long time. You know how I get down. And all my real friends don't got to ask what Joe Budden's attitude is because they already know. So he told you, man, I ain't changing this. It is what it is. All right? You tell me I'm wrong in the comments. What happened? Where did you point out the line where it was so respectful? It made you say, ah, there it is. Joe actually caved in. No, he never caved in. So if he's not there for the respect, then what he's sitting there for? I didn't see no whole bunch of respect. He said respect. If you count how many times he said respect, it probably was 189 times that he said the word respect. What did Joe say in this thing that was so respectful? He said, well, I maybe shouldn't have said that. That ain't, what that? We already know that. Shouldn't have told the man ain't none of his business. You wouldn't say that to a secretary. You wouldn't say that to a secretary. It ain't none of your business. Because if you said it, it's disrespectful. So there's nothing respectful about the situation. So Maul, we have to deduce and take our time and figure it out that he's sitting there for the paycheck. You can miss me with all this. I'm here for the respect. Because it don't sound like he's giving it to you. It didn't sound like it came to a thing where now we're, you know what, Maul, you're right. We're going to be equal partners all the way across the board. I'm putting your name on the show. I didn't hear none of that. Right? Tell me where I'm wrong at. So he's sitting there for the money. Now let's get to Rory. Rory sounds like, let me just keep it a buck. Rory sounds like a dude, right? You know how when you on the playground and it's a dude real tough, he real mad, he real angry, right? And then he get real tough and real mad and real angry with the wrong person, and this person clock him. Like just bop, 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 just like whoop him so bad that he have a whole new attitude in school. Because this guy's in the corner looking, waiting for him to act up so he can whoop him again. Rory looked like somebody who got beat so bad that they don't want to offend the person again. He looked shook to me. He's saying all the right things. Let's change the narrative that I wanted to invite you to my hands. Why are you, let's change that narrative. And what does Joe say? It's on film, bro. What you talking about? He got beat so bad in this situation that he want to rewrite the whole situation. He's sitting there telling Joe, damn near agreeing with this guy for everything that he's saying. And keep telling us we had a 7-8 hour conversation and we good. Are you really good? Because this dude don't sound like he changed anything. He basically doubling down on everything that was pissing you off in the first place. I didn't hear Joe change up on anything, to be honest with you. You write in the comments where Joe changed up his opinion or where he made amends. Maybe he did it behind the scenes, but don't come on the camera like, you know what I mean? If you're going to come on the camera and make it like, yo, we good and everything, let's clear the air. Right? You shook the tree. Let's clear the air. We're going to be open and honest. Then be open and honest then. Don't keep rehashing the gripes that you left for in the first place. And then you're not telling us what he said to correct them gripes in private. You just keep rehashing, well, I was feeling disrespected and I'm just about respect and I just need my respect. And then he ain't coming to say, well, you know what, Ma, you know what I'm going to do every day on this show going forward? I'm just going to respect you. I'm just going to give you all the respect I have for you and show you you're loved. I ain't hear none of that. This dude said, so what? Sit there and shut up because I can replace you. Fact. And we're going to see how long this show lasts. We're going to see if these guys stick around. It was so much said, bro. It was so much said, and at the end of the day, it went in circles. I heard the word respect probably, like I said, 198 times, and I didn't see nobody else give it to him. And Maul looked like a puppy. I mean, not Maul. Rory looked like a puppy, looking up at his master like, can I eat now? Is it time to eat? Can I get walked now? Ain't nobody gonna say this, but I'm gonna say it. It's weird. It's awkward. This is 3 grown men trying to get a money bag. Plain and simple. Stop saying you don't care about contracts, because then you wouldn't even be mad at none of this. You wouldn't even be mad at it. Rory looked like he wanted the respect more than Maul do. You can say you want respect all you want. You know what I'm saying? This is what I want to say about respect. Respect goes like this. You can't disrespect somebody on a daily basis, right? And then when the other dude leave, that's when you start demanding your own respect. Because apparently Maul was fine until Rory was told not to come back to the show. Is that right or is it wrong? You understand what I'm saying? It don't make no sense to keep saying, I just want my respect. Get respect. Respect me, bruh. But apparently you wasn't getting no respect before all that. And now when this guy gets told to leave, you want to exit stage left too for the same reason. So then when the person come back and you come back and it don't sound no different, it don't sound no different. The dude didn't apologize for keeping the show going because you said the only thing made you mad was the show kept going without you. He said, man, I got mouths to feed. That ain't gonna stop for you. That's what he said, bro. It's a 100% fact. And I don't agree with Budden on a lot of stuff, but I agree with that. He needed to keep that show going. It's just a fact, bro. And I think what happened, and I'm not gonna hold you no more, I'm gonna let you go. I think them dudes saw that show rolling without him. They saw people starting to gravitate to the dynamic of the show because it wasn't the way they was doing it. It's a different way. And people liked it. It's like when Budden left Everyday Struggle, it got better. It got better without him. After they went through the bumps and with Star, goofy ass Star, and all these other people. After that, it got better. And it was a very topical show. I don't even know why they ended it. They probably was looking at the numbers. The numbers was fine. But they probably was like, okay, before this kills itself, we're just going to end it. Right? Whatever. End of the day, I don't feel like Budden should have stopped the show. Now, on some friendship, yeah. It's super disrespectful. Again, we right back to respect. If we a group, and he tried to ask Budden, he said if Slaughterhouse, Budden didn't want to, Budden knew what he was saying, but Budden is a tactician. He's extremely smart. And what he did say is facts. He said, I ended my career rather than have people destroying Slaughterhouse. I told him to put this guy in a whole bunch of stuff. Now, that's not the point. Maul's question wasn't if you decided. That's not what he said. And Joe knows that. Joe was like, I did this, I did that when it happened. But that's not the point. All of that was you were okay at that moment to leave. He's talking about if you wasn't supposed to leave at all and you didn't want to leave and you looked up and all of a sudden they replaced you over one argument. That's different than what you did in real life. You walked away and you decided to do this and that or whatever. Maul was asking a perfectly legitimate question and Budden didn't answer it right. But if that had happened the other way around, it would have been a problem, right? So, end of the day, this show is still rocky. It's still awkward. We are not back. We ain't lit. All this stuff in the comments. We back. We litty. Da-da. Simmer down, bro. Because Maul feels away. And Rory's so whipped right now, he not even going to be no good to the show. Because he looked like he just want to get back in the graces of the people and Budden and everybody else. But I ain't going to hold you no more, man. Hit the like button. Let me know what you think. Put that in the comments, man. Check me on the flip side. I'm going to check y'all out and I'm going to holler at you. Peace.